The rain fell in heavy sheets over downtown Chicago, drenching the city in a gray, unforgiving haze. Outside the glass walls of the gleaming $3 billion smart building that pierced the skyline, cars splashed through puddles, and umbrellas bent in the wind. Inside, Matthew Carter, a single dad whose life had been a constant battle of bills, bedtime stories, and broken appliances, was about to face something that would change everything, though he had no idea just how much. Stuck in an elevator with the building's CEO, a woman whose reputation was as sharp as her tailored suits, Matthew's heart pounded with anxiety. One wrong move, one misstep, and the whole day could crumble, not that he had a choice. If you believe in kindness and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Matthew had been hired as a maintenance contractor, tasked with overseeing minor repairs in the building. It wasn't glamorous work, and it certainly didn't pay much, but it kept a roof over the heads of his 6-year-old daughter, Abigail, and him. Ever since his wife had passed away unexpectedly, Matthew had learned to do everything on his own: cook, clean, manage homework, and comfort a little girl whose laughter was the only light in his world. But life had a way of testing even the strongest hearts, and today, it came in the form of a power outage that trapped him with Sophia Raines, the enigmatic and formidable CEO of Raines Enterprises. At first, the tension was suffocating. Sophia, poised and commanding, assessed Matthew with a gaze that felt like it could dissect him completely. He, in turn, fumbled with the emergency panel, trying to stay calm for both of them. The elevator was small, its mirrored walls reflecting the unease in their faces. Matthew's hands shook as he worked, a subtle tremor of exhaustion and fear. He could almost hear Abigail's voice in his head, asking if he would be home in time to read her favorite bedtime story. The weight of responsibility pressed him down, yet it was that very weight that would soon spark a chain of events no one could have predicted. Hours felt like an eternity. As the two shared space, conversation began to trickle out. Matthew spoke of his daughter, of his late wife, of the struggles of raising a child alone while trying to keep afloat in a world that didn't pause for grief. Sophia, despite herself, listened. Her usual sharp edges softened, revealing a human being behind the CEO title, a person who had built empires but had perhaps forgotten what it meant to be truly present for life outside the boardroom. For the first time in years, Matthew's honesty broke through her armor, and she admitted, almost to herself, that she had been too detached, too focused on profit and efficiency. The building around them hummed with technology. AI systems monitoring energy consumption, elevators responding to voice commands, and security protocols more advanced than Matthew had ever seen. Yet, in this moment, it was not the tech that mattered. It was the simple humanity, the vulnerability of two people forced to confront the chaos of life together. Matthew's words carried weight because they came from love, from a place of selflessness that Sophia had long ignored. She realized that her brilliant building, for all its innovation, lacked something vital: heart. When the elevator finally jolted back to life, neither of them moved immediately. Matthew wiped his hands on his worn jeans, feeling the adrenaline drain from his body, while Sophia stared at him with a mix of awe and something else: gratitude, perhaps even respect. Over the following days, Sophia began inviting Matthew to give insights on the building's operations. He suggested small but meaningful changes, improving communal spaces to encourage human interaction, adjusting lighting and sound systems to make the environment more nurturing, even redesigning automated alerts to be less harsh and more compassionate. At first, the executive scoffed at a contractor's opinions, but Sophia championed his ideas. Slowly, the building began to change, not just a structure of steel and glass, but a space that reflected the values of its inhabitants. Matthew never sought recognition, but the effects were profound. Employees reported feeling happier and more connected, tenants noticed the warmth and care embedded into the automated systems. One by one, the changes rippled through the building, proving that empathy and thoughtfulness could coexist with innovation and profit. Sophia herself found a renewed sense of purpose, realizing that leadership was not just about making billion-dollar decisions, but about nurturing the people those decisions affected. Matthew's single act of courage and honesty, simply being himself, vulnerably, in a confined space, had reshaped the destiny of a $3 billion building. Yet, the story was never about wealth or status. It was about human connection, about showing up even when life demanded more than we think we can give. Matthew returned home every evening to Abigail's wide eyes and infectious laughter, carrying the quiet satisfaction that he had done something bigger than himself, without ever leaving the role of the devoted father that defined him. And Sophia, walking through the building, now looked not only at walls and screens but at the living, breathing community she was a part of, a community transformed by a man who simply refused to give up. If this story touched your heart, please hit like, comment, and share. And before you leave, I'd love for you to write in the comments what small act of courage changed your life. It could inspire someone else today. In the end, the elevator had been just a catalyst, but it reminded both Matthew and Sophia of a timeless truth: greatness is measured not in profits or accolades, but in the quiet, persistent acts of love and courage that shape the lives of others. And sometimes, the person who seems least likely to make an impact, the single dad just trying to survive, can become the very force that changes a world, one thoughtful action at a time.